Hey guys, what is up? Carter here. This video is going to be some tips on flipping a flipper knife, using a flipper knife, deploying a flipper knife, and what, nice retention on that. Yeah, so I just got this ZT-0350, and it's just that perfect knife where if you flip it correctly, it flips gorgeously. If you don't, then it fails. So I figured it would be a good knife to kind of demonstrate and talk about this with. And also what kind of brings this up is I'll often take a knife to my place of work and there's no knife guys there. So I'll show them the knife, and if it's a flipper, you know, this is what always happens. Not even that good. I mean, it's usually like that. You know, they'll go to flip it and it'll be like that. And I got to teach them how to do it correctly to make it flip open like that. And so I figured maybe some of you guys could benefit from it, or maybe you have some tips and tricks of your own. I'm still trying to get the hang of doing the reverse flip. I'm not that good at it. But anyways, without further ado, let's take a look at this knife. Of course, this is non-speed assisted now. I've taken the speed assist out of it. Nothing funky in here. There's no bearing system. I mean, it's just your standard flipping knife. Has a really good detent, which is very helpful. In fact, it's pretty much necessary to really flip a knife hard and strong without having to go, you know, with a lot of wrist motion. You need that strong detent because you need to build up that kinetic energy and then let it fly open. A lot of knives, like a lot of the hinders, not all the hinders, have really weak detents, and it's kind of hard to do that. If it's a really smooth specimen, you can, you know, flip it down hard enough, kind of with that motion, that it'll fly open. But a lot of the times you need some sort of wrist, just because it doesn't have that detent. So first, let's take a look at how not to flip open the knife, and that is to passively pull down on the flipper, you know, kind of like that. And that's usually, man, this is a nice flipping knife. I mean, even trying to do a bad job at it, you know, and it almost flies open. That's usually what people do when you hand them a knife and they're not really that familiar with it, and they try to, it's a little piece of cotton from my pocket right there. I gotta take some tension off that. But that's often what they'll do. So there's two ways to get this to flip without any wrist motion. One is just to get really good at pulling down quickly like that, and that's the hardest way to do it, and I don't recommend doing it that way. That's just basically where you just get used to, see, I failed on that one, where you pull straight down like this, but you do it so quick and so hard that it flies open. That's not the best way to do it, as you can tell, because it doesn't always work and it's kind of goofy looking. Best way I've found to open a flipping knife is to not pull down or push down. You want to push towards the pivot. So you put your finger on the tip, you kind of, what I do anyways, is I bend my finger right here and I start putting pressure, pushing in. And then once that breaks, and then you put pressure in and then you slowly come down. And then once that breaks, it just makes it fly open. I mean, you can hear how hard that's flying open without using any wrist or, you know, pulling down super hard on my finger or anything like that. So I'm basically pushing inwards towards the pivot, and right here I'm pushing completely inwards towards the pivot. So it's not doing anything. I'm putting pressure in, but it's not doing anything. And then you just slowly kind of bend your knuckle like this, and that'll move all that force downwards. And so once it kind of reaches that point where it's coming down, all that energy is transferred then into the flipper and spins it around. And like I said, this is just a really good example of being able to just rocket this blade out of a manual flipping knife. Alright guys, that's it. Just a quick tutorial on something I was thinking about that was in my head with this cool ZT-0350 that I got in today. Really liking this thing so far. A lot of fun. I can tell my finger's going to be raw by the end of the night from flipping it, hitting this jumping. Alright guys, take it easy. Have a good night.